Robert Downey Jr.'s life story sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, except it's all real. He went from being one of the most promising young actors in the industry to a cautionary tale of self-destruction. Addiction, arrests, and public humiliation nearly ended his career. But against all odds, he staged one of the greatest comebacks in entertainment history, becoming the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Iron Man. His journey isn't just about fame, it's about hitting rock bottom and finding the strength to climb back up. Today, we're looking at how Robert Downey Jr. went from addict to one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. Robert Downey Jr. was born in 1965 in New York City to actor and filmmaker Robert Downey Sr. and actress Elsie Ann Ford. Hollywood wasn't just a career path, it was his family business. He grew up surrounded by creativity, but also by an environment where drugs were common. His father introduced him to marijuana at an early age, normalizing substance use in his world. Acting came naturally to him, and he appeared in his father's films as a child. But while his talent was undeniable, those early years planted the seeds for the struggles that would later threaten to derail his life and career. In the 1980s, Robert started landing roles in both film and television, quickly becoming one of Hollywood's rising stars. He joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1985, and soon after began earning critical acclaim for roles in films like Less Than Zero, where he chillingly portrayed a drug addict, a role uncomfortably close to his own life. By the late 80s and early 90s, he was seen as one of the most gifted actors of his generation. But behind the scenes, his personal life was already spiraling. The line between his on-screen characters and off-screen reality was becoming dangerously blurred. In 1992, Robert starred as Charlie Chaplin in Chaplin, a performance that earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. At just 27 years old, he had achieved what most actors only dream of: industry respect and a reputation as a transformative performer. The role required months of training in music, accents, and physical mannerisms, and Robert delivered flawlessly. However, the discipline he showed on set didn't extend to his personal life. Even with an Oscar nod, his growing dependence on drugs and alcohol continued to chip away at his stability, threatening to undo everything he'd worked for. By the mid-1990s, Robert's substance abuse was no longer a hidden problem. It was headline news. He was arrested multiple times for drug possession, including heroin, cocaine, and marijuana. In one infamous incident, he was found passed out in a neighbor's home. Despite court-ordered rehab, he repeatedly relapsed, cycling through treatment centers and jail cells. The public watched as one of Hollywood's brightest stars seemed determined to self-destruct. Studios grew wary of hiring him, fearing he couldn't be trusted to show up for work. What had once been a promising career was now hanging by a thread. By the late 90s, Robert's career was collapsing. His unreliability cost him major roles, and even when he was cast, his behavior sometimes got him fired mid-production. In 2000, while starring in the TV series Ally McBeal, he delivered an Emmy-nominated performance, but another drug arrest led to his termination from the show. At this point, Robert had gone from Oscar-nominated actor to Hollywood pariah. For many, he was a cautionary tale, a reminder that talent means nothing without discipline. He was broke, unemployable, and facing the very real possibility that his acting career was over for good. Robert's turning point came in 2003 after yet another arrest and stint in rehab. This time something clicked. He later credited his eventual recovery to a combination of therapy, meditation, martial arts, the support of friends, and meeting his future wife, Susan Levin. Rock bottom forced him to reassess his life and priorities. He realized that if he didn't change, he wouldn't survive. The decision to finally commit to sobriety was the first step in what would become one of Hollywood's most remarkable redemption arcs. Recovery wasn't instant, it was a gradual climb. Robert had to rebuild trust, both personally and professionally. Roles were scarce at first, but he took whatever work he could get, determined to prove himself. Films like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in 2005 reminded audiences of his sharp wit and undeniable screen presence. Slowly, Hollywood began to take notice again. He surrounded himself with people who supported his sobriety, cut ties with toxic influences, and maintained a disciplined lifestyle. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the foundation for the incredible comeback that was about to happen. In 2008, Marvel Studios took a risk by casting Robert as Tony Stark in Iron Man. At the time, he was still seen as a liability, but director Jon Favreau fought for him, believing he was perfect for the role. The gamble paid off. Robert's charismatic, quick-witted portrayal redefined the superhero genre and turned Iron Man into a massive success. Overnight, Robert went from Hollywood's problem child to the face of what would become the most profitable film franchise in history. The role didn't just revive his career, it made him one of the highest-paid actors in the world. Tony Stark wasn't just another role. It was the perfect reflection of Robert's own life. Like Stark, he was a man who had faced his demons and emerged stronger, using his brilliance and resilience to reinvent himself. Over the next decade, Robert appeared in multiple Marvel films, becoming synonymous with Iron Man. Fans embraced him not just as a character, but as a real-life hero who had overcome extraordinary odds. His performances brought humor, heart, and humanity to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and his personal redemption story added a deeper emotional layer to his on-screen presence. While Marvel defined much of his career's resurgence, Robert didn't limit himself to superhero films. He starred in the Sherlock Holmes franchise, which was both critically acclaimed and commercially successful. He also took on producing roles, expanding his influence in the industry. His success wasn't just about blockbuster paychecks, it was about proving he could sustain a career without falling back into destructive habits. By maintaining his discipline, he turned his second chance into a lasting legacy, showing that comebacks aren't just possible, they can be even greater than the original rise. Robert's journey offers powerful lessons about accountability and perseverance. He has openly discussed his past mistakes, refusing to sugarcoat the reality of addiction. His willingness to own his story has made him an inspiration to countless people facing their own battles. He demonstrates that recovery is a lifelong process, not a single moment of change. Through consistent work on himself and his craft, he's shown that it's possible to rebuild a life from the ground up and even surpass your former achievements. His story is as much about personal growth as it is about career triumph. Today, Robert Downey Jr. is celebrated not only as one of Hollywood's top actors, but also as one of its greatest comeback stories. From his early promise to his darkest days and eventual redemption, his life has been a testament to the power of resilience. He transformed public perception, turning from an industry liability to a role model for reinvention. His portrayal of Iron Man will forever be a cornerstone of pop culture, but his real-life transformation may be his most inspiring performance of all. In both his art and his life, Robert has proven that no fall is too great to overcome. Robert Downey Jr.'s story is a reminder that failure isn't final. It's a chapter, not the whole book. He went from rock bottom to redefining an entire genre, proving that redemption is possible for anyone willing to put in the work. If his journey inspired you, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs a reminder that comebacks are real, and subscribe to Behind the Glory. We'll keep bringing you the real stories behind the people who've turned setbacks into legends.